Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is going to be one of the first videos I'm ever posting, and it gets to be about a Tesla. That is crazy to me. I've never driven one before, until today obviously, but I've ridden in them before, rode in them, I guess would be the correct terminology. But today I got to drive one, and it's been amazing. Let me tell you about the experience, and a little bit, quite a bit, about my thoughts about the actual car. So I'm kind of starting this video towards the end of the trip, but I still thought I'd record it because it's been great. So we rented oh, look at that. I'm walking over to the Tesla right now, but there's a Rivian R1S. It looks great. It's kind of hidden right now, but there it is. There's the Model S we rented for the day. I love the Rivians, I really do. Anyways, here's the Model S. Put in this supercharger location, and it's just kind of in like the small area. There was one Model 3 over there earlier, and now it's just us here charging. Stall 3A, yeah. Let's see how it's going. We've been here for like 5 minutes, and I think we peaked earlier at about like 130, 140 kilowatt hours, or kilowatts added back to the battery, which is not terrible by any means. I mean, it was rated for 150, so I mean, there you go. We came here and it was like 89, so 148 is not terrible. The car does get pretty loud. As someone who's never, owned a Tesla before, used a Tesla before, it gets pretty loud when it's supercharging. I mean, I get why, but yeah, I mean, you can hear it probably inside here, and then if you open the door, it's also pretty loud, but hey. So yes, this is a Model S 100D, not a performance 100D, but the 0 to 60 time of 4.2 seconds, what it's rated for, is still insanely fast. Like, I've driven a BMW 3 Series. That's not like super fast car, obviously, but it is more sports oriented than something like the average commuter car, and this feels 10 times faster. It's insane how much kick you get on like a 0 to 60, or if you're going cruising at like 60, 70 miles per hour on the highway, and you try to speed up, you still have a little bit more power. I know the newer Model S's and stuff are great at that. Plaid is great at that, but it's really impressive even now. It's also, just for temperature's sake, like just so people understand, it is, I can't flip the camera, but 77 degrees right now. So it's a beautiful temperature outside. It's been a beautiful day, and I don't know, I'm very pleasantly surprised. All you gotta do is come up and plug in, and it's just gonna charge the owner's card, I guess. But I mean, right now it says $0, so I don't know, maybe he has free supercharger miles or something like that. Also, this is an older Model S, obviously 2018 100D Model S, and when I got it originally, I was like, okay, this is pretty nice and stuff, but as we got going and started getting on the highway, I'll try to record this too, but you can hear there's a lot of random wind noise, and I get the car is very silent, so you're going to hear those types of things, but it is very loud. So if you play music, sure, you're not going to hear it as much, but when you're just driving this if you don't have anything, if you have the air conditioning going, that's about it, you're going to hear it. Now, I know newer Model S's hopefully have improved their build quality, but it is kind of surprising the way that Tesla kind of churned out vehicles when they first started. I know 2018 is not when they first produced Model S's, so it's still interesting that this kind of lacks kind of standard features for a lot of cars. Like, my mom got in this car and asked, hey, where is the cup holders in the back seat? There were none. Obviously they have some up here, if you just open this. These are adjustable and stuff, you can move the things out. This, you have more space in there. There's the USB, the flash drive for the dash cam footage and stuff, which up there, Sentry mode and all that stuff is really cool. And then these, which cup holders up here, which I didn't realize that it was not like a center console storage. There's no storage in here. I originally didn't know about this, so I had to actually look that up because I didn't understand that. But it's just surprising that there really is, like, you can't fold down the seat here to put cups in it or anything like that. That was an optional accessory back in 2018 or whatever year they started doing that, and it was like $600, $700 little piece that went in there and gave you storage and cup holders. But it's just funny that on a car this much, you kind of have to pay additional money to get kind of somewhat basic features. But I understand at the end of the day, people who buy these cars are not necessarily buying them for the luxury aspect. Tesla's not known for the build quality and premium materials right now. They may change soon with things like the Cybertruck, but I get why. The technology in this car is just insane. You compare it to any other modern car on the road, and it just wipes the floor with it. So I'm very impressed. Even as someone who knew a ton about Teslas coming into this, it's still very impressive, the amount of stuff in here. And yes, this is, like I said, an older one, and the screen sometimes does lag a little bit, but this is probably on par with like a new BMW or Mercedes. Like this right here, this experience, it's still really great, and it's just intuitive, you know? On a BMW or something, because I've driven those before, you can't zoom in and out of the maps. You kind of just have to use these touch inputs on the corners and the sides of the screen. Here it's just intuitive. You want to zoom in the map, you zoom into the map. You want to zoom out, you zoom out. It's just easy, and it's so fun to use. There's so many cool features in here, you know, connect your phone and stuff like that for audio. You got all the graphs here for all your trip information. I have not started a trip, obviously. You got your little backup camera, right? And you can have this on while you're driving, and it's great. I mean, there you can see back of the charger, but hey, very cool. This is one of the only things I don't like. And I know this has changed on the newer Model S's, and it got even worse in my opinion. But like here, you can adjust this manually, right? Great. I love that. I think there's a certain point in cars where you can't keep putting features like this into the touchscreen. I know they orientated this way, and they made it faster and all that. But if I'm driving the car and I just want to move the air vent, I can do it easily like this. However, well, in this one you can do that, obviously. But in the newer ones, you got to control it with the little, you know, little splitters and stuff on the screen, which is cool and futuristic, but at the same time, not my favorite. Change all your settings in here. You can turn on the heated seats and whatnot. You got your dog mode, your camp mode. I'm not sure what the keep mode is, but hey, that's a feature too. It's just awesome. There's so many cool features in here. Some of them you will never use. Some of them you'll find randomly, and you'll love them. I will say, there were a couple things I did actually have to look up because I didn't understand how to do it. Like, I'd never used the key fob before, obviously. And, you know, here's the key fob. I didn't realize that it's like a double click for things. So you want to open the front, you double click this. You want to open the back, you double click that. And then you want to lock it, you press this, right? And then if you get close to it, proximity based, it'll unlock. So there are some things about this car that I did not know. But now, really quickly, let's talk about a little bit about the driving. I've only driven it a little bit, but it's really fun to drive. It's a very wide car. I will say that. I'll show you right now, but it is a very wide car. You got to keep that in mind when you drive these. I know Model 3s are less wide, but it is just a very wide car. I mean, obviously, it's charging right now. But if I come to the front, I mean, you'll see this thing is very, very wide. Yeah, there was a couple points where I was like, I don't know about this, but hey, I made it through. Yeah, another thing, a little minor annoyance on this specific car. Anytime you try to use the cruise control or autopilot here, right here, it does not work on this car. I mean, it says the cameras need to be recalibrated, so there's a software thing in here in the service that you can actually just bring up and camera and recalibrate it. Because it's not my car, though, I'm not going to mess with that, but it is a little unfortunate. I wanted to test out autopilot to see how it is. I've never been in a Tesla with it, so I just wanted to see how it goes, like how it works and what it does. But it only, right now, the only, like, I guess, smart features done while I'm driving is tell me, hey, you're getting close to the line, or hey, you're about to cross the line, or you have crossed the line, like driving. It's still a cool feature, but I wanted to see how autopilot performed. Like, usually when you're driving, you know, you get to see the cars on the screen here. You'll see your car driving, it'll look kind of like that, and you'll see other cars and pedestrians and stuff. This car does not display that. Now, maybe I'm just ill-informed, and 2018 Model S's don't do that, but I don't think that's the case. I think this car just needs its cameras recalibrated, which is a pretty simple process. I looked it up, but I wasn't going to do it because it's not my car. I don't want to mess with things. So, yeah. Anyways, pretty cool. Very cool, in fact. I will say the sound system in the car is okay. It's not amazing. It's not something I'd brag about necessarily, but it's not bad. Been in a couple other cars that I like, that sound better to me, but overall, it's a pretty decent sound system. I know I keep flipping the camera back and forth, but there's a lot I can show you. And of course, you know, everyone loves their games on the Tesla. There's so many games you can play. Now, most of these require you to be parked, because obviously you're not going to be trying to play 2048 while you're driving, but hey, you can when you're parked and you're waiting for your car to charge. Which, guys, we're over halfway charged, and it's only been about 15 minutes, so I'm actually very impressed with how fast the car charges. And in reality, you wouldn't even need to charge this much. I could have made it all the way back to where I need to go without charging the car and just been fine for the entire day. But because it's a rental and returning it today, the owner required us to charge it up to full, basically. So we are going to let it charge all the way up. There's so many games in here. Now, I know, of course, I don't want to keep comparing it to newer Model S because, you know, obviously the newer cars are better than the older cars. Most of the time. There's like a little asterisk there, but most of the time they are. But there's just so many games. I'm not playing all these, obviously, but some of these, you know, you can use the steering wheel and the brake and the accelerator. I didn't want to say gas pedal, but accelerator to play the game. Some of them, you know, you just use the touchscreen. I do like the fact that they changed the orientation of the display on the newer Model S's to support better content consumption, like from YouTube, or if you're watching Netflix or whatever you want. That type of thing, being on the side landscape, is great. I love that. I like this display, and it is massive. Like, I know I've seen it before in pictures, but sitting down in person and actually seeing the screen, it's crazy how big this thing is. It's also very sharp in resolution. I don't know if you can see that exactly. I don't know if it's going to translate well on YouTube and compression and all that, but it is great. Also, speaking of compression and quality, how does this video look and sound? This is recorded on an iPhone 14 Pro with no external microphones. I'm just curious how it sounds. This is one of the first videos I've recorded for this channel, and also on the 14 Pro. I do have a separate camera, DSLR, but it is tricky to figure out how to actually use it. That may sound interesting, like why would you even have it then? I'm learning how to use it, but for little videos like this is the most convenient just to carry around. I also wanted to mention that I'm not using or recording in Dolby Vision or anything like that. This is just standard 4K 60, straight out of the ultra-wide camera for the most part. There will be a couple shots with the main camera, but I'm trying to use the ultra-wide just because it's more of a better focal length for this type of video. Looking at the camera quality though, it looks really good. I just want to see how it translates into YouTube. So, we'll see how that goes. But anyways, we are currently sitting at 205 miles, 10 minutes remaining supposedly, and we dropped down all the way to 64 kilowatt hours, or kilowatts. I keep saying kilowatt hours. I get that's the battery pack. There's a difference, but 64 kilowatts. I know that it does drop off, and it makes sense, you know, you're charging a battery. The lower it is, the more kilowatts you can fit into it. It makes sense. 64 is decent. I have seen worse before, so I'm not totally upset with that. And also, I am pleasantly surprised by how fast it is. How fast it's charging. I know it may sound like I'm repeating a lot of stuff, but I am very impressed. Another great feature, I guess, or part of this car that I love is the sunroof. It is honestly amazing. It's very expansive. It looks really cool, and I think they did put a good tint on this. I don't know if this is straight from the factory or aftermarket, but either way, it doesn't feel like the sun's beating down on you. It's been a pretty sunny day. It's not hot, as I said before, 77 degrees, but Fahrenheit, 77 degrees Fahrenheit, but it doesn't feel like the sun's beating down on you. Another interesting feature that most people know about on the Teslas is the door handles. Now, this whole door handle thing on the car, I have not seen this before. Now, I know it's normal for these Model S's, but the only other Tesla I've ridden in, or rode in, I guess, is the Model 3, and that just has a different type of door handle. This is just like a solid piece, obviously, just for you to grab. This releases the window, right, and it comes down, so you don't destroy the window trim. It's very cool. I don't know if I love that, but I'd get used to it if I actually owned the car. And then watch me close it. It goes back up. Sweet. Just getting into the back, though. I wanted to see how the legroom is back here. I've not been in the back, so I want to see how it is. Okay, you got two USB what are those, B, A ports? Yeah. Oh, look, a fellow Tesla, another Model 3. We'll see if they charge. Oh, no, they're just going about their day. But honestly, I don't know. Legroom's okay back here. Not amazing, but it's okay. I don't know. I'm 6 foot tall, and I mean, I'm sitting in the middle seat, but if I sit over here, this is kind of how it is. I think the number one most annoying thing about this, not necessarily annoying, but probably not the best, is if you can see that I'm sitting all the way back in the chair how I normally would, and you kind of got this, like, I don't know, the seats are angled kind of like weird. They're angled like this versus more like this, so you kind of got space here. I don't know if I necessarily like that, but hey, I probably wouldn't sit back here, but maybe it would be fine for most people. Maybe it won't bother a lot of people. For me, though, just a little bit. Just bothers me a little bit. And then you can see head height. I mean, I have a hat on, but not terrible. Head space. It's not super spacious back here, but it's also not super cramped. I know the Model 3 is a lot smaller, so there's that to consider. And then we'll take a look in the back right now. All right, so stepping out of the car, we come around to the back. Now, there are a couple ways to open the back. You can obviously press on the little back piece, or if you have the key fob, which I do, you can simply double press on the back, and it'll just open. It is powered, which is, very nice. Now, ignoring the stuff in the back already, you kind of got a lot of space. I mean, this is just a little covering mat, but hey, you got a lot of space back here. And then you have more storage underneath the floor. There's something in there that I don't know what it is, but it's not a charger or anything like that. It looks like a chair. Yeah, and then, powered clothes. I mean, there's a lot of space back here. And if you fold down the seats, you'll have even more room. The front. The front is also decently sized. I'll show you that right now. Again, double-clicking the front unlocks it. I just did that, and it just popped open. The front is obviously not powered, so you just gotta kind of open it. But there you go. I mean, that's their license plate, but hey, you got some more storage down here. So, pretty cool. And then over there, you got your space to put in your windshield wiper fluid. All right, and now we have been charged. We've obviously been charging this whole time, and now we're at 229 miles. That's great. We're at 56 kilowatts. We've added 143 miles, and it's going pretty well. There we are. That still says 0, which is interesting, but hey, it is what it is. There's a couple other little things that I could talk about this car, but they're very minor. They're not annoyances, except for maybe this. I think this is just interesting. You got a little flappage here, just very interesting. There's the phone. This is also very tiny rear view mirror, but hey, it works. Yeah, these are interesting. The width of these, length of these, all that is just pretty interesting. And then you got a little flap, just interesting. But hey, I understand people love these cars for the technology they have and the fact that they're electric. Tesla's done something incredible. They've been able to bring these cars to market, make people want these cars, and it's insane. I mean, I get why. After driving it just for about like 30 minutes, an hour-ish, I love it. I've always loved the Teslas. I love electric vehicles, but after really getting in the seat of one and getting to drive it just for a little bit out on the highway and the back roads, it's been amazing, and I really do love it. So if someone asked me, hey, you have an unlimited budget, what model would you pick out of Tesla's lineup? I'd say I want to test drive a Cybertruck, just see how it is. If I really liked it, hey, Cybertruck, because I do like trucks. But if I didn't like that for some reason, I'd probably pick a Model S. Probably have to be plaid, just for the range, just for the acceleration, the power, all that, and all the cool features, obviously. But yeah, and then, if someone said, hey, you can buy any EV you want, doesn't have to be Tesla and even unlimited budget, what would I choose? Probably the Rivian. I'd probably wait until NACS was adopted, because, I'd like to have that plug standard in the car, but probably Rivian. I like the design a lot. I like Rivian as a company. I support them a lot. But yeah, that's been about it. 236 miles. I just got to keep updating you about how the charging is going. One last thing to talk about real quickly. Steering wheel. It's very big. I feel like this could be like a truck steering wheel. Now, I get why, driving it, I got used to it, but it is very big to start off with. And then I like the look of the newer steering wheels. I don't really like the yoke, but I have never used that, obviously. So maybe I would. Who knows? But this is just a very big steering wheel. I get why, though, you can see through here nicely. I know there was a focus of the yoke, why Elon wanted to change it so you can just really see through there. But hey, I don't know. I got a good view when I'm driving. I can see through here just fine. But that's been about it. So really, to answer the question of, is the Tesla Model S, especially the 100D, if you're looking at that one specifically, or 2018, if you're really looking at that specifically, is it a good rental car? Absolutely. We're charging up right now, and we're going to be here a total of about 30 minutes. Now, that may sound like a long time to some people, but if you plan your day and you just say, hey, we're going to stop here for 20 minutes and we're going to charge the car, it's completely fine. You just go out and you can go do anything. You're kind of centrally located right now. So, there's a lot to do at most supercharger locations. I won't say all of them, but the range should not be a problem. There should be no range anxiety. Tesla superchargers are everywhere, and the car automatically does all the trip planning for you. So when you get in the car and you say, hey, I want to go here, it'll calculate it. It'll tell you, hey, your battery's going to be this percentage when you get there. And if you really think, hey, I'm going to run out of range, and you really want to charge the car, it's very easy just to navigate straight to a supercharger. And it'll precondition the battery so it'll charge faster once you get there. Tesla's built a great system. Vertical integration is really where it's at. You got all the software talking to the hardware of the chargers. You got talking to the hardware of the car. It's really impressive. And it solidified my opinion on Tesla. I finally got to drive one, and now I can back up my being a fanboy of the company by saying, hey, I've driven this car. I love it. And I know the newer models are better for the most part. There's some things I don't agree with, but hey,